This is the Alexandria National Cemetery. It was one of the first national cemeteries established during the Civil War in 1862. Alexandria was a huge hospital center for the Union Army, and as troops were brought back from the front, many of them died, overwhelming the capacity of the local community to bury the dead. It was because of this pressing need that the federal government set up the system of national military cemeteries that we know today. This is the grave of Edgar Snowden at the Wilkes Cemetery complex in Alexandria. Snowden was the editor of the Alexandria Gazette during the 4-year Union occupation of Alexandria. At one point during the war, Snowden and a number of other prominent civilians were used as human shields, being forced to ride on Union trains to protect them from fire from Confederate raiders. This is the grave of Wilmer McLean at St. Paul's Cemetery. The Civil War practically began in McLean's front yard when a Union shell exploded, taking down his chimney at the Battle of First Manassas, the first major engagement of the Civil War. McLean moved his family further south into Virginia, only to have fate take a hand once again, and his home became the site at Appomattox Courthouse where the terms of the surrender of Robert E. Lee's army was taken by General U.S. Grant. This is the historic cemetery at Christ Church in Alexandria. Initially, 39 Confederate soldiers were buried at the National Cemetery that we saw earlier. But after the war, in 1879, these Confederates were reburied here at Christ Church. This is the Friedman Cemetery, which has been dedicated as a park. During the Civil War, thousands of ex-slaves poured into Union lines. There were thousands of them around Alexandria. Of course, many of them died and were buried on this plot of land, which belonged to a Southern sympathizer. Over the years, the wooden crosses that marked the graves deteriorated. The cemetery was forgotten, and a gas station was built on top of the graves. The cemetery was rediscovered by archaeologists and historic preservationists, and in 2007 was rededicated as the Freedmen's Park. The Episcopal Seminary in Alexandria was used as a hospital during the Civil War. It was one of the best hospitals that the Union Army had. But despite this, many people, of course, still died. And some 500 Union soldiers were buried on the grounds of the Episcopal Seminary during the Civil War. It was somewhere near here on the grounds of the Episcopal Seminary that the bodies of 500 Union soldiers were buried during the Civil War. These soldiers had been patients at the hospital, which had been located in the seminary.